Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the CranKy Ducklings reviews Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 3. I'm, of course, your host, Live VIP. With me, I'm joined by the one, the only, the 16th Senseki, Kopa. Hello, Kuro. Hello.
Hello there. I have to open it every time with a hello there, you know.
Yes, it's on brand.
Yeah, it's on brand. The funny part is, I think I started saying that before that became a meme, and I just stuck to it. It's just what I do.
There you go. But yes, we are here. We are back. We did mention previously that we might be looking to cover these episodes of the Bad Batch in batches. No pun intended. But this was very much so a standalone episode. It felt had its own self-contained story. We of course are going to be discussing episode 3, the Solitary Clone of the Bad Batch Season 2. I also want to mention as well that this was written by Amanda Rose Munoz, who happens to be Latin American. Don't know if they're from Mexico or from somewhere else in Latin America. But Amanda was the writer for this episode.
Do you know what else they wrote?
I did look into it, and they've mainly only written Bad Batch episodes. She did write one episode of more, though. Which is
okay, but like, what did she write in Bad Batch?
She wrote this episode. She also wrote a couple of episodes in season 1, and a couple of extra episodes of this season, which I don't want to get into because no spoilers. But in season 1, she wrote. Let's see, she wrote episode 6 called Decommissioned, and she wrote episode 13, which was called Infested. So she wrote 2 episodes in season 1.
No, I'm asking because right off the bat, like to a short like first impression, this episode felt very different than most of the show.
This episode was amazing.
It was good, but it was very different, like in tone.
Well, that's why I said self-contained, because one, I loved this episode. It's so far, it was amazing. It was beautiful. This felt to me, because as you're alluding to the fact that it felt like it was very different for the show. This felt like a Tales of the Underworld or Tales of the Jedi. Like it felt like its own like separate like project that was made. You know, like as you said, like very different tonally.
If it wasn't like part of this season, it could be just like a standalone story in one of those tales of.
Yes, that's what this felt like to me. That's what, and I was very pleasantly surprised by that.
And I will say it did have very similar vibe to the Tales of the Jedi part. Remember how there was the episode like with like Dooku and stuff, and like those are like very interesting episodes in a similar way, where they were like more analytical of the general like situation, less so than specific characters.
Yeah, it was a really, really nice kind of almost breath of fresh air here, taking so coming into this, for those who are unaware of the show, the team of the Bad Batch originally had a sniper called Crosshairs, and in the first season, they did end up basically breaking apart. He did break apart from the team. He did decide to work for the Empire. Drama ensued, of course. They initially thought that he was maybe mind controlled. They tried to maybe like save him. It was revealed that, of course, he was not. He was choosing to work under the Empire under his own volition, in a sense.
It was left ambiguous, but it seemed like originally he was controlled, but it's ambiguous if that was true or not.
Yeah. It's
like that's what people from Camino thought, or people from the Empire thought. But because of what he said, it's ambiguous if that was true or not.
Yeah, and then they kind of like split off. Of course, when it came to season 1, he still, of course, helped his team in his own way, and he was left on Camino. Here we have the continuation of his story.
He helped them, but I mean, that's the thing. He didn't really help them. That's the thing. Like he was, he actually blamed them that they left him there, that they like deserted, like that he actually like felt abandoned by the rest of the team. And like you say, he helped them. Well, he kind of like had to, because they were in like a life and death situation with the Camino being bombarded and stuff. But like he offered them to join the Empire because he truly believes in the Empire. And then at the very end, when they were leaving, they were like, despite everything that happened, you are still our brother. Like, you can come with us, and he rejected that.
Yes, he did reject them. He did decide to stay on Camino instead. And this does follow that. This is a month later. I think he said it was like 31 rotations that he was stuck on Camino.
No, that was how long he was on Camino specifically.
Yeah, that's
we don't know how long it's been since then.
It implies that it implies that he basically, after that, he was picked up, and then it looks like he had like a recovery period of recovering from maybe like hunger and then like satiation and who knows. So it's been some time after that as well, and it does pick up on his story. And immediately, if you recall, we were discussing in the previous episode about potential clones that they could touch on and they could follow up on when it comes to the stories. And bam, immediately, and I brought up Cody then, and then bam, they showed Cody here. I was like, I was like, okay.
I was shocked. I was shocked that they just went straight for Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Not because he's a named character, but because, from what I understand, again, I didn't follow Clone Wars as closely, but from what I understand, like, Cody was pretty up there. He was basically like one of the highest ranked clones. So like, he's not a nobody in this army.
Yeah.
So for them to go straight for Cody for this story, like, that was like, oh, hold on.
Yeah. And again, part of me, like, so it was cool to see like a catch up of Cody essentially, and seeing things obviously from a different perspective. That's kind of what you alluded to earlier when it came to the Dooku episodes of the Tales of the Jedi, or Tales of the Underworld, where you're just seeing things from a different perspective, and it was really interesting and a very different vibe, of course, following Crosshairs, seeing things from his perspective, how he's even what's the word I'm looking for?
Isolated.
Yeah, he's even isolated from the other clones, right? Because he's different.
But the thing is, like, that was always the case.
Yeah,
Before the whole Empire thing happened, like, in generally, the Squad 99 was just looked down upon by most regular clones. Not all of them, but a good part.
Yeah, and you get these like little tidbits as well, where if you remember before he interjected, there was a conversation going on between those clones, how they were discussing a bill that was being proposed again regarding, I'm pretty sure it was regarding conscription and regarding like basically stormtroopers occurring, things of that nature. So once again, they're tackling that kind of whole aspect of the story and of the world, which I think is a good thing. And yeah, they show off like a different side of things, where you have a separatist and an ex-separatist planet that's trying to be independent, and then the clones coming in to take over said planets in the name of the Empire, and we get caught up with Cody.
I will say, speaking of separatist planet, this is my one negative comment about this episode. Okay, as much as I love them, I cannot take anything seriously that involves battle droids, specifically the Roger. If you put a single one of those in a scene, the scene is ruined. All the seriousness is
that was the very tonally weird part about the episode for sure, is whenever they show them, and they didn't have to. That was a choice that they made. Like, they could have just used super battle droids who don't even talk, right?
Yeah,
like
super droids, but the droid decas, just use different models instead of the basic ones. Or instead of that, like, just use them as like a cannon fodder essentially. But like, instead, like, giving them specific scenes is like that. I feel like this really has no place in this episode because everything else was very serious and like actually pretty dark.
Yeah.
And then you throw in the silly robots. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
what?
that was.
It almost felt like they had to like put something in there to lighten the mood, so it's not like too depressing or something. But like, it just felt kind of like mismatched with the rest of the story.
Yeah, using the battle droids was the weakest part of that. Just because as you mentioned, it's like very like kind of serious topic that they're addressing here, or tonally, like, it's just very different, like the subjugation of a people, right? It's like coming in and taking over like a people that want to be independent, right? And doing things that they believe is the correct thing, but it isn't, and it's tackling like some interesting concepts, some interesting ideas, which I love that they're doing here. What I will say is that watching this, there was so many thoughts going through my mind when it comes to watching this episode. One, I was like, they could just make this its own show. Like they could just have this like be its own like mini show, like spin-off series, like if they really wanted to, like to the point where if they didn't, I would hope to get more of this. As in, I would love to like every like
Tales of the Bad Batch.
no, like every like 2-3 episodes in this season to cut back to like Crosshairs and come back to the Empire and have an episode like this, right? Like every now and then we cut to what's happening in another part of the galaxy, of course, with the Empire and with Crosshairs. Like I like the idea of like going back and forth between the two teams, or between the two perspectives, to see like things that are happening, and that can all kind of lead into eventually the meeting in the finale or towards the end of the show, and culminating in some kind of like story arc, of course. Like I can see that happening. I don't know if they will, but I can see that happening for sure.
Sammy tells me that this will be like the one episode of that, and they won't be adding more.
I would say it would be a big shame if this is the only Crosshairs episode, like the only like this kind of like.
There may be more Crosshairs episode. I just don't think they will be as like emphasized. Like I don't think they will be like strictly focused on him like here.
Yeah, I hope they do, but I agree. Like I'm my concern here is that this is the only episode like this, and it was like a test almost. Like it was like them like, you know, experimenting a little bit, and they're like, oh yeah, you know what, you can take over this episode, do it how you will, and we'll see if it lands or not, and maybe that'll influence if we make more episodes like this in season 3, for example. Like it's hard to say. It's so early in the season, so it's hard to say for certain. I'm hopeful that maybe they do more of this throughout the course of the season, but as you said, we'll see. As it is very, very tonally different. But again, it was great to see Cody again. It was great to hear these nice little lines about things that are happening. Like you remember, he has like a passing line where he's like, "Hey, like there are multiple clones that are there's like basically not an uprising, but there's."
Basically said that he basically said that there are more and more clones doubting the whole like
exactly. And this goes into what we were discussing last episode about how does the order work, right? Are they being forced to listen to their superiors? Like obviously the end of the last episode showed that, you know, not, right? Like they have their own like morals, or they have their own code, or they have their own like they have their own foundation.
So it's not a full mind control.
Exactly. And hearing, and it's interesting to hear that there are other clones that are defying the Empire that still have their chips in them, right? I think that's what's important, is that all these guys still have like that chip.
That's kind of what we were talking about in the previous episode, where I was saying like how far does that go? Because I was like trying to like sense it out, specifically in that conversation between Cody and Crosshair. And while he was saying those things that, like, you know, people like don't really believe in that like there are more people who are, like have doubts and stuff, he did not touch the order itself. As in, like when like Crosshair mentions the Jedi, he does not touch that part specifically.
Yeah.
So maybe the order just codes like specific things about the Jedi, but like the rest of the structure, you know, is still like up for interpretation.
Yeah, it's still a little bit ambiguous, right? And we don't really know exactly how it goes, and maybe they'll explore it throughout the course. There's the opportunity to explore it in this season, right? In this show, because they can do whatever they want with it, right? They have the creative freedom to explore this and to flesh it out however they want, because they wiped the slate clean when they got rid of the original canon, right? So like they've got like a canvas in front of them. They can do whatever they want, and they can write whatever they want as well. Which is why I was surprised that they used Cody, because I was like, oh, okay, like he's another character that he doesn't appear in the movies, so they can do whatever they want with him. Right. Same with Rex. I mean, with Rex, they're limited because of Rebels, right? But we didn't see Cody in Rebels. So for Rex, like, we know that he's going to survive this. We know that he's going to live, and we know he's going to make it to that point in the story. For Cody, we don't know if he dies, right? He could die. He could die in the show. We don't know.
I honestly, considering that Cody and Rex are not together in Rebels, I honestly assume that he's dead.
He might,
because otherwise I don't see why they wouldn't be working together.
Yeah, like he might. I'll be honest. I thought they were gonna kill him at the end of the episode. I thought he was gonna die at the end of the episode. I was like, you know what, they could if they really wanted to.
To be fair, they did say he went AWOL, which, you know, Empire may just say that, but in reality he may be dead.
I feel like if that's the case, they'd show it.
Do that.
Like I think
I don't think they would do that.
They wouldn't kill him off just with a line like that. Like if they were to kill him, they'd show it. But
He's too important of a character to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But like they totally could kill him off if they wanted to. Like again, like they can do whatever. There are certain characters they can just do whatever they want with. And I don't think they will, just because he is more of like, he's like a Rex, like he's more of a known character, and they probably want to hold on to him and use him later. But I mean that we'll see what they do with it. And yeah. And it was fun. It was very fun. My big criticism for this episode, we're kind of like jumping into it, but like again, like we got to hear like some tidbits here and there. We got to see the clones doing their thing. I mentioned in the previous episode that I like that they're giving respect to the clones, or they're making them competent, and that now you get an episode from their perspective where they do a mission and they're successful, right? They do their thing, even though they're like the opposing faction in this story. So once again, you're able to see them be competent and achieve a mission and do their thing and see things from their perspective. So, and it's good just because it builds them up as a threat. It also builds up the Empire and the governors and like the leadership as a threat as well. Like it's you're building up these characters. I think I was going to say something else actually, and I'll say it now. The other thing that was going through my mind while watching this was like, how is Dave Filoni tied to this? Like, what? How is this so good? And Dave Filoni's tied in some way. That's why I told you who wrote it, because I was like, hold up. I quickly looked it up and I checked Ahsoka first, and Dave Filoni, he wrote every episode in Ahsoka, and Dave Filoni, he did not write this episode. I was like, okay, now like this is making sense in my mind now. Okay, because I was like, my brain couldn't connect the two. I was like, how could the person who wrote this episode have written Ahsoka? Like I just couldn't believe that. And I checked and he didn't.
I said it before, and I've said it. I'll say it. I'll repeat it here. I do not want to judge Filoni specifically too much, because I don't like. Let me rephrase that. I still feel like there's a good chance that the reason why we keep coming back to Ahsoka, but the reason why in some shows like his writing is so poor, it may be because he's like solely responsible for it, and he doesn't have like another like a team of people to like bounce off of, or like maybe have counter arguments to things, so things just like go whatever it is. And I want to emphasize that doesn't necessarily mean that like all his ideas are bad, but like you need like sometimes you need like just somebody to like bounce the ideas off of, so like maybe you like don't realize that like, hold on, this doesn't actually like add up together and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke about this during the Ahsoka finale, right? We spoke about how for Dave Filoni, there are like multiple different things that could be the case here, where he has too much control of Ahsoka, or not enough control, or what have you, or how things happen.
Like, I just don't want to like make it like, oh, whatever he touches is gonna be bad kind of thing.
No, yeah, obviously, because he started the show, right, and the show's good. But I did notice that specifically, like Dave Filoni, he is credited as the writer for every episode in Ahsoka, and for The Bad Batch, he's credited as the writer for episode 1 of season 2 of The Bad Batch. I think that's it. Like, I think. Oh wait, no, sorry. Hold on. Let me just double check that. Dave Filoni, he's credited as. No, sorry, I misspoke. He's credited as episode 1 in season 1, and that's it. Like, he did not write any other episode of season 1 or season 2, actually. Not saying that he has no input. I'm sure he's.
Yeah, I mean, he's still the producer, right?
He is the producer. Yeah, he's still the producer, so he's still in charge of everything, right?
Yeah.
But there are other people that are writing these episodes, and there are other people that are putting in their own like creative input into this. He's like signing off on it and saying putting his stamp of approval.
He's approving the thing.
Yes, exactly. Whereas for Ahsoka, like no, he had his pen and paper, and he was drawing. He's
writing on paper.
He was drawing on the paper.
I think he does. Actually, thinking that does, because I was watching. I don't think I mentioned it on recording, but I was actually watching like the behind the scenes of The Mandalorian, and Filoni was also there, and he was talking about how he actually comes from like 2D animation, and like he was actually like an animator and like actually drawing animation. So he comes more from the artistic field in like visual sense, and then. I think that Clone Wars was his first 3D project, and like he had to like learn everything from scratch, basically.
There you go. He's still got some learning to do for sure, but yeah.
I said he was an artist, as like visual artist. Maybe
Yeah.
like writing is not his strongest side.
It's
Like
possible.
you can be
It's
good at
possible.
everything.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. When it comes to, but so yeah, so I'm excited to see the director and writer of this episode do more, and we'll see how they perform throughout the course of the season itself. As they kind of like rotate writers and directors throughout the course of the season. Again, she does write a couple of extra episodes this season as well, so we'll see. Same with the director. But yeah, when it comes to the episode itself, so they get ordered, of course, to go in and to under the guise of diplomacy, to go in on to infiltrate the planet and to take it over, to free the governor as well by whatever means necessary. And then they go in.
I feel like we didn't mention that the way this whole episode started was that the Empire decided to claim this world that was, I believe, part of the Separatist army, and the current leader of said planet just disagreed and took the Imperial hostage, and that's the situation.
Yes. And this is one of many planets that used to be a separatist planet, but is being taken over by the Empire. Basically, like from my understanding, the Empire more or less automatically kind of like gained control of all the Republic planets. And now they're taking over all these separatist planets as well, and anything in the Outer Rim, and of course if there's any kind of like resistance, and then that occurs as well. Which is why like I like the idea of potentially following Crosshairs and the other clones in going to different planets and taking them over, and what happens like throughout the course of a season of this, right? That's maybe my big criticism jumping forward a little bit, is that there's a bit of a sense of finality here, in the sense that if this were to continue, like in my mind, if I were to make this a show, Cody would stay, and it'd be Cody and Crosshairs, and it'd be
and
over
time they would
yes,
have more conversations.
Exactly. Over time, you have Cody questioning more and more what's happening, and whether he's doing the right thing and what's going on, and maybe even slowly influencing Crosshairs, where Crosshairs is a little bit more like strict, he's a little bit more like he's a little bit more willing to just listen to orders, and more subservient. That's what I'm looking for. He's just more subservient, and then throughout the course of the season, like he influences him as well. In this fictional show, maybe Cody dies at the end, but that death leaves an impression on Crosshairs, and that eventually leads to Crosshairs turning. That's how you'd have the character arc for this character throughout the course of this show. Would be Crosshairs, would be Cody dying, would be Crosshairs like eventually finally turning on the Empire, and then you'd end up with like him killing the governor or just leaving at the end. But that's like you'd have like this story arc and growth throughout the course of the season, like camaraderie as well. But instead he just leaves after the first mission, and it's like I kind of wanted more, I wanted to see more of them maybe creating a bond together, and I wanted a little bit more of Cody questioning what's happening, and more opportunities for that to occur.
Yeah, I thought like when they had like the whole scene in the cantina again, I thought that Crosshairs is gonna be like there with Cody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does feel like this event has kind of broke Cody, so I don't know if he would have the, it's not confidence, but like if he would be willing to associate with Crosshair at this point.
Well, I mean, I don't think he blames him necessarily, but like,
yeah, it's not blame. It's just like more like being disturbed, maybe.
I think you could definitely argue that maybe this is something that wouldn't happen in their first mission together, right? Like, because as you said, like it's a little bit more extreme, where you build up to this to a breaking point. It feels like we kind of like rushed it a little bit, where or even like that you could still have Cody on, but like still again like questioning everything, maybe looking into things as well, into the truth about whether or not the Jedi actually did turn into traitors and all this stuff. Like you could even do it that Cody he starts to recognize something is wrong, and that maybe they're being lied to, and then you have him start looking into things, right? And he stays with the Empire for a little bit longer just so he can like work from the inside, right? Like you can write it however you want, but like the idea that he's still under the Empire and still there and still doing things like I would have wanted more of that. And it's a bit of a shame that they kind of like basically wrapped up Cody working under the Empire already. Like he's just already AWOL, like he's already broken free essentially is what we're hearing. And it's like it's like it would be nice if there was a little bit more here, you know, like it's a shame. It's a shame. Yeah. I wanted more of Cody and Crosshairs, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I get it, but at the same time, if this was just like, the first step of the story, I feel like this episode wouldn't be nearly as impactful. So I feel like they kind of had to do this if they wanted this like strong of a note.
Yeah, it is a strong note to end on that he just leaves. But
I mean, not so that he leaves, but like the entire like story. Like if they wanted like to have this like impactful story about how dark things are getting, like they couldn't just like left and be like happy for another few months. Like this had to have like a strong ending.
No, but like you could still write this that Cody stays at the end. You could totally do it. But as I said, like him like starting to question things more, and maybe even like something that I thought initially when he was questioning Crosshairs. I don't know if you noticed, but like when he name dropped like the Jedi thing and Crosshairs just kind of moved on, I thought it was like fishing to hear his opinion. Like I thought that's what was happening.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like it felt to me like Cody was already like maybe in contact with someone from the outside or something. And he was just like checking.
Yeah, he was just checking to see like if he was someone that he could trust with something, maybe or maybe not. But like that. But that's what I mean. As in like, there's a world where he stays on to maybe find other clones like him to be able to safely escape together, right? Or to do something to like create like an internal uprising or something of that, or find out what's actually going on, right? Like there's different ways that you can take the story if he were to stay under the Empire there. But because he's now enemy of the state, like he can't do that anymore. So it's like he's just gone. So yeah. Now it would just be Crosshairs in the sense that like if we ever go back to it, it'd have to be following him, of course, and something would have to push him, and maybe this is enough to push him to look a little bit further into things or to question things more. It's hard to say.
Yeah, you could have like a whole like investigation route, and because he's on his own, like he just I don't say he can do whatever he wants, but like it's less likely that people will suspect him because nobody cares about him in the first place.
Yeah, but he has to be. Something has to like trigger him, like as in to want to do that, right? And I don't know if this was enough. I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. We'll see. See what kind of impression this left. Which is why for a moment like this to happen, I feel like they need to build their relationship more for then something like this to impact Crosshairs more as well, to push him to do more. But despite that, again, when it comes to the episode, it was great to see the clone troopers, executing their mission, infiltrating the planets. They get their own moments to shine. They've got they have a couple of named clones as well, but they're able to kill them off essentially because there's no like close connections to any of them, and have a bit of a more like kind of like brutal episode itself.
Can I say something silly? Actually, it's quite stupid.
Okay.
Can I say it?
Okay.
They really got a clone called Nova doing an explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that.
True. They did do that. Once again, they got to use Crosshairs in a really fun way as well, right? He's a sniper. They gave him a lot of nice moments, like sniping the tank, for example, or of course using the reflectors.
The mirrors.
The mirrors. Yeah. Was done really well.
They emphasized his like fancy skills, which we knew from before, but like they like, by the way, if you don't remember, because this is the first time you see Crosshairs in this season, like those are his skills.
Yeah. Exactly. So you got to see him shine here, of course. That culminates into the final scene where the governor's taken hostage. This is also a big turn as well, because if you remember, the new governor of this planet, he initially was shown as someone who's like a little bit spineless and scared, if you remember. Like in the first scene at the beginning of the episode, he's like in the gunship and he's like, sweating, like he's like nervous, like he's like he's like
He looked new.
yeah, like he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. Like he looks like he's very inexperienced.
I don't know if he doesn't know what he's doing, but he looks like a guy who, like, just finished academy and is being sent on his first mission.
Well, I would say he looks like a guy who mainly works behind a desk, and then suddenly he was told that he's got to like get into a military ship and can go to a planet when he has no like military training. It's like, oh fuck. So like it was so they initially show him off to be, as I said, like a little bit more inexperienced and not very confident, because if you remember, like even when he landed, like he was like stuttering a little bit, like when he spoke he was like I'm here to take over, and then they're like no, and then they have him shift, of course, at the very end where he shows that actually no, he's an awful person actually, and he's and now that he's in control, like he's willing to like kill people and even kill someone who's surrendering and things of that nature. So like there's like a very sharp turn for that character as well, and everything just takes a really dark turn quite quickly, I would say.
See, the thing is, I don't know how much of a turn of a character it is. I feel
Or
like
like a
he's
revelation.
always been like it. He's always been like this. He just didn't have like the way to express that, to put it that way.
Sure, but you only realize that at the end. Like you would not think that in the beginning,
I guess.
right? Because as you said, like your impression was that he was like a someone who just finished school or something, right? Like so you don't know the character that well, and you have a certain impression initially, and then your impression quickly changes of that person, of that character. And you have, of course, Cody, who's trying to be more diplomatic and who's trying to be a good person, of course, and hoping to find another way to resolve this. And he even defies the order, right? Like the guy tells him to kill him, and he's like, well, I promised her. He doesn't say no, but he says I promised her that this would be peaceful, right? That's what he says, and he's hesitant about doing it. And in the end, it's Crosshairs who kills the ex-governor. And
I was so, I don't know what the word for it is, but I was surprised as when Crosshair originally like stood down when Cody told him to.
Yeah, that was another big moment as well. Yeah.
Okay, he's listening to him. I was like, he's gonna shoot, right? Like he's not gonna let this slide. And then he does it. I'm like, okay, so it does make sense.
Yeah. No, that you're correct. Though. That's another big moment where Cody tells Crosshairs to lower his weapon, and he does it, right? Like he listens to him, and they have that
he
whole
respects orders. Like that's the whole thing. Like he does what is being ordered.
Yeah. And then of course, then in the end, he kills him, and then we have that really nice moment between the two of them at the end. It was shot really well, like the lighting and like them looking at the memorial.
The whole thing, like, I mean, straight from that moment when he shoots the governor, like the whole sequence was really well made, to the point where I have to say, like, not all series executed. Let's put it that way. Let's not bring other series again. But that like final conversation between the two of them.
Yeah.
And then you have like this line from the Imperials, like, oh, it's kind of weird, like everybody around you just kind of disappears. Weird, isn't it? And then you just have Crosshair walking down the hall, and then like the music just comes in, and it's like just so dead silent, even though there is music playing, but like you just feel like you're in this like emptiness.
Yeah. It was directed very well. It was very, very well directed episode, and especially those final scenes, right, with them having the discussion with not even just that, but even with the rest of like the stormtroopers the clone troopers arriving, and there's not even any dialogue as well.
No,
it's just Cody like looking at everything. He's like he's just seeing what's happening.
I actually think the ones that arrived were stormtroopers.
Well, they had different helmets, right? Like they had different.
Yeah. They showed their helmets, and I think that implies that those are stormtroopers and not clone troopers.
Yeah. It might be. It's hard to say. It's hard to say exactly. But there's like no dialogue. Like he just sees like more soldiers arrive, and they're of course going through all the buildings and going through all the residents and stuff, and like he just sees everything that's happening, and he doesn't say anything. He just
yeah.
It's just, yeah, but like it says
even,
a lot, you know.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't say anything, but it says a lot. And even in in his conversation after with Crosshair, like he has 2 lines. Like
Yeah.
there's no like specific conversation. Like he just like, refers to what just happened, like in a very broad way, and they just leaves. That's it. That's a convo.
Yeah.
And they're just left in silence, as Crosshair is by everybody else.
Yeah. And of course Cody, he's implying that like that they, I mean, maybe it applies a little bit less to Crosshairs, of course, because he's a little bit more cut off from his emotions and a little bit less like sympathetic or empathetic. A little bit, like it's still there, of course, but less so. And obviously this is kind of like tugging at that sort of thing, but like talking about how like, hey, like we're still people, right? Like that was the whole point of Clone Wars, the TV show, the fact that the clones are not robots, they're not battle droids, but they have their own individuality, of course, and that gets brought to the forefront here as well, about how, hey, like we still have a choice, right? And regardless of any kind of orders that we're being given, like we can still choose what to do, and we have to live with it, and it left a really strong impression. It was done really well. And
yeah, I like that line. I like that it was like, like, sure, like the line about like, oh, what's the difference between the clone and the droid? Like that was a very obvious one.
yeah
But I like that they added after, and we also have to live with those
yeah
choices. Like that's a very good line.
yeah that was a very strong way to like end that scene. And
basically showing that like it's not just about like having free will, but also like having the responsibility of free will.
Exactly. And then he left, I guess. He's just gone. And again, for me, it's a shame because I don't know if he's going to be in the rest of the season. He might just be gone from the show now. Like he like if they really, like, again, like which is a shame for me, because
like they have to use him.
They might show him later, but like it's just I want more of this. Like even like we talked about it, the entire episode is again from a different perspective, from the Empire's perspective, and what's happening there. Like I would want more of this. It was interesting, it was intriguing, it was again exploring things that we don't often get to see, and as I said before, like they have a lot of freedom to do whatever they want here. They can do whatever they want, they can tell whatever story they want, and I hope that they get to explore this side of things again. The other thing that I was thinking of, like how did they write and create this, and they also wrote and created Ahsoka. But I was also thinking, like, when I was thinking of making this like a mini series or something, it's like I wouldn't even be opposed to this being like a live action thing as well. Like I can see that working. Like it's just I could see them.
I lost all trust in live action. Okay,
that's true.
Animated shows are just better. I don't know what it is, but the animated shows are just better.
I think part of it might just be the people that work on it. Like I would imagine that I think an example of that is Amanda Rose, who wrote this episode. I was looking at her credentials and stuff, and she's only worked on animated stuff. Like I think and
exactly.
what I mean by that is that I would imagine that people that write, that direct animated things don't necessarily cross over into live action stuff too well. I would imagine that they have their own kind of separate quote unquote teams, or their own like again, like I feel like the skill set of directing an animated show is different from the skill set of directing a live action show.
I was gonna say,
right?
because like the characters you animate however you want, like the only actors you're dealing with are the voice actors.
Yes. Whereas on live action, you have to control the lighting, the camera work, right, itself, like the actor directing them as to how to portray a show, like facial expression. Like there's it's just a different skill set, right? Like it's a different skill set. So different people are working in different kinds of medium. So the people that are working on these animated shows are going to be different from the people that are working on live action shows, and that's a little bit unfortunate. I would hope that I would hope that there's cross pollination when it comes to writing, because I don't know if that. I would hope that there's a skill set there that's applicable to both, but I also don't know what goes into that, right? Like how you would have to write a live action show, and whether there's something else that goes into play there.
I was gonna say that, like, I guess that there's also the difference in the fact that like most of the animated shows are much shorter. They like have like this like more condensed
Mhm.
episodes, so that may take part something about the writing. That like for the TV for the live action you need like usually like a full like 40 to 50 minute like short movie essentially. Where like for the animated shows like they're usually shorter, so you can condense the story more if you want to tell a shorter one. But I don't know if that matters really
Yeah,
for the
I
writing.
I would also hope that there's no gatekeeping involved. It's possible that there is, but like I would hope that um that there isn't some kind of view on a someone who's writing a cartoon or an animation as opposed to working on a live action thing, and whether it's
Yeah, so it's like
difficult.
it's like for kids or something,
Yeah,
right?
and whether it's difficult to make that leap and make that jump. I don't know. I'd have to like look into all these writers and see if they ever get the opportunity to work on something live action, because I think this is the only example. But hey, remember we heard that hey, the people that wrote Rebels didn't work on Ahsoka. Do they get to work on live action stuff? Maybe not, right? Maybe because it's live action, that's like exclusive to like a certain to other writers instead, right? And they get opportunities instead of the animation writers. But
See,
that, in my mind, like that, it would make sense as to why there's a dip in quality when it comes to the different mediums, because there are different people working on them, of course, and maybe they aren't able to cross over and help work on other projects when it's live action and when their expertise, quote unquote, is animation.
yeah, it's that. But I also wonder. But I don't think it should be, right? Like, I wonder if, like, part of it is, like, also, like, budget thing where, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to pay for all of these actors. And the voice actors still need to be paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, maybe, like, they can, like, afford better writers or something. But I don't think that should be the case, right? Like,
Um,
I'm trying to think about it, but I feel like an animated show would have a smaller budget
it would
anyway
have a
than, like, a
smaller
live
budget. Yeah,
action.
it would have a smaller budget than live action for sure.
So I don't know if that math would, like, even work out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a shame. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's a shame that that's I would say that the writing for these animated shows are just better by leaps and bounds. And it's a shame that that isn't crossing over into some of the live action stuff. And I'm sure there's a reason for it. As in, unfortunately, there's probably a reason for it. Like, uh, when it comes to like money, or when it comes to hierarchy within Lucasfilm or within Disney itself, and who gets to work on what and things of that nature, and who has control of what. But
Yeah,
yeah,
like it's kind of like was again we talked about like Filoni and stuff. Like he also started from an animated show, and it took years before he got to direct anything live action because I believe the first live action he was involved in was The Mandalorian. I
hmm
think he specifically said that at least he specifically said that this was the first time he was directing a live action series.
hmm
That up to that point, everything he did was animation.
hmm yeah.
So maybe like it as you said, like it takes like a while before you are kind of like allowed to to do like live action stuff.
hmm Which is a shame, because the people that they have working on live action stuff, they're they just seem underqualified, or like the quality of the writing is straight up worse, unfortunately, despite the fact that they get the opportunities to work on it. So it's a shame. It's a shame how what's happening there. But yeah, I guess the reason why we bring it up is just because I would like to. It'd be nice if we had more of this. It's because it was great. It was great. It was a great episode. It was great. Well written, well directed. As we mentioned, there were a couple of failings of the episode when it comes to
Mhm.
like incorporating some weird tonal choices with the droids, or for me, it does feel like a bit of a waste to wrap up Cody's story here. But at the same time, we don't know how the rest of the season goes, so maybe they go back to this and maybe they use him again. Maybe we get to see more of him. It's hard to say. I guess we'll know by the time we wrap up the season whether it was a waste to wrap up his story here, or whether they could have kept it going a little bit further, and whether we get more episodes
I
like
feel
this.
like see, I feel like they will somehow connect Cody and Rex, and we will find out what is going on there. But like that's very like vague idea for now.
Mhm,
Like we'll see what they do with it. But I think this is not the last we see of Cody
mhm.
this season.
Okay. And we'll see. We'll see. I think so. Just because it's so early, like this is just episode 3. Like it's very early in the season.
And
There's
they
still so
wouldn't
much.
just drop like they wouldn't just drop like one of the most recognizable characters, and though I say the word recognizable, I did find it very funny when he walks up to Crosshair and he like takes off his helmet and like, oh, Cody. I'm like, their faces all look the same. How can you tell? How does the face tell you more than the helmet, considering that they literally are clones? Although he does have a scar, so I guess there's that. But it did look pretty silly on that singular shot.
But yeah, it was just, once again, it was just a very, very well done episode. So far, best episode of the season, 100%. Maybe even more than just that. Maybe best episode. I don't know if I can't recall exactly season 1 too well, unfortunately. So I don't know how I can compare it to that. But I mean, even then, like we know that this was very, very totally different to even anything in season 1 as well. And it was great. It was great. I loved it. It's beautiful. I want more of this.
Again, this was like very different kind of
I'm afraid that we're not going to get any more of this season, but I want more of this. I want more of this, and I hope that I just want more of this. It's great. It's great. Like in my mind, I think there's a chance that we don't see this anymore, like this kind of episode, but we see it more in the next season. Like I can see this being like a test, like an experiment, just to see how it goes and just see how like it all comes together, and then they might do more with it later. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I would say though, like it's been a while since I've watched an episode, and like afterwards, I was just like, I wouldn't call it speechless, but I was like, well, okay, that was a story.
Yeah,
like
it was good.
It's kind of different feeling where like, especially because like this was telling like a bit of a darker story considering what Clone Wars is, and it was like, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily.
They did a full story here.
I wasn't necessarily speechless because obviously, like, we were in a call and I didn't want to say anything before recording. Yeah. But like episode ended, I was like, "Damn!"
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "Damn!"
That was an episode.
That was a story. Like, it was. Oh my god! Like, it was. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's just good.
And that's what I keep saying. And like, I just like the animated shows, like because most people will only watch like the main movies and then like the live actions. But like a lot of people think like, oh, animation is like made like Sunday cartoon for kids. But there are some really good stories in this cartoon.
Yeah. I think I was speechless in the sense, and then there's the reason why I just kept bringing it up. I was speechless in the sense that at the end of it, I was like, where is this kind of storytelling in other Star Wars media? Like, where? That's what I was thinking the entire time. Yeah. I was like, damn, where is this everywhere else? Like, what's going on, Ahsoka? What's going on, Mandalorian season 2? Like, what's going on, Book of Boba Fett? Like, it's like, what the hell? It's how are we making this in the same world with a lower budget with these other shows? Like, what's going on? Like how does this make any sense?
You know what's funny? Because I was talking about like, the general like mainstream view of the animation is like, oh, it's for kids, it's just like to entertain the children kind of thing. But I feel like the live action shows that are currently released in the Star Wars universe feel more like for kids than the animated shows.
Yeah.
Like they feel like dumbed down to the point of that Sunday cartoon kind of thing.
Yeah, for a lot of it.
But like,
sure.
I did tell you that specific. I think we were talking about the Book of Boba Fett back then. But I did tell you that it felt like a lot of like the action, like a lot of the scenes that were happening, it felt like it was made for kids. With like, look, haha, funny thing, Oh, look at the bright colors, kind of like where it had less like essence and more just like just something to entertain your brain, kind of thing.
For sure.
Like it felt. Like I was talking that like it felt like I was watching like what is it called? Is it like Teen Agents or something? There's like some kind of there's this like movie series. What is it called? Whatever, doesn't matter. But like it felt like watching a movie dedicated for kids that you would like watch with like 10 7-year-olds kind of thing.
You're talking about like, I don't know, like Despicable Me or something, or I don't. But
no, I wasn't, because it's also animation. But I was meaning where like there was heck? There was like this live action, like there are some every now and then they like release this like live action movies, for that are essentially like targeted at children.
Uh-huh.
But
Sure.
like that's kind of the vibe I was getting from the way they were like constructed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it felt to me, they felt more for like the young I can speak. The young audience. Why is this difficult? Than like the stories in the animation.
Yeah, and obviously I should very quickly add an amendment to that and say that we have not seen Andor yet, because from my understanding, Andor is meant to be a little bit more like this, if not even darker than what we're seeing here, and Andor is his own thing and is getting a lot of praise for that as well. So what we're saying is we're comparing it to the shows that we've seen, which are the ones just before Andor. So your Ahsoka, your Mandalorian, your Book of Boba Fett, your Obi-Wan.
Like Andor is very known for having a much darker vibe.
Yeah, for sure. Which is a little bit more, well, obviously, again, darker than this, but more along the lines of this as well. And we'll eventually get there. Like once we finish Bad Batch, once we finish Maul, we'll get to Andor as well. We'll get there eventually. Definitely looking forward to it. But outside of that, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Watch the animation. The animation is pretty good.
It's pretty good. This is good. It's good. I'm afraid.
Obviously, you can tell that it's still intended for younger. I will never say that phrase correctly. It's still intended for younger people, but like you can tell by visuals, like no gore and stuff like that, and you can still tell, but the stories have the quality of an actual show.
Yeah, and my other concern now as well is that I'm concerned we're peaking too early. Because this was an amazing episode. I loved it. It's the best episode so far of the season, and I'm also afraid that it's going to be hard to top. Is what I will say. It's going to be hard to top this. Obviously, this is a standalone episode, and the rest of the season is going to be following the characters. We're going to be growing with the characters. I'm sure we're going to be hitting some arcs and some peaks with those characters as well, for sure. But yeah, this is set the bar quite high, I feel, and I don't know if we're. If we're gonna, I'll be impressed if we can even reach this high again in this season.
I mean, did you say that this person wrote another episode somewhere?
They did.
The
Yeah.
line?
Yeah. We'll see. Crazy. Shout out to Amanda Rose. Oh.
Yeah, that was pretty solid, and I do wonder where we're gonna go next. Because as we said, like this was like a self-contained story about the other side of the events. And I guess in the next episode, I assume we will be going back to the main crew, but we don't know that.
Yeah. We'll see. We shall see. I also want to double check. Actually, hold on. Do I have any concerns here?
Are you checking who wrote the next episodes?
Nice. Okay, no, I was just checking. Okay, so with that, we are going to be wrapping up here. Going to be wrapping up for the time being, and we'll be back momentarily, I'm sure, with the next episode. This episode number 4. Once again, we'll kind of play it by ear here. Whether it's a self-contained episode like this, which was very clearly self-contained, we'll just watch the episode and discuss it. Otherwise, if we have a 2-parter, then or 3-parter even, then we'll stick with it, and we'll be able to discuss everything together.
Indeed.
Otherwise, yeah. Again, damn.
Damn.
It was great. It was a great episode. Do you have anything you want to add before we head off? Before we wrap up?
Roger. Please don't put battle droids in serious shows, in serious episodes. Like again, I love them, but not in a serious moment.
It was a bit weird. It was a bit odd. Oh boy. Oh right, you know what else was weird? Very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall? It stood out in my brain where there was a scene where a clone trooper busted down the door and used a flamethrower to flame battle droids. I was like, what?
Yes, yes, he set droids on fire.
And they were screaming in
It was
pain.
hilarious.
I was
hilarious.
very confused. I was like, these are robots. Like they should not.
Yeah,
they should not catch
How hot is
fire
your
and,
fire?
and scream
Maybe this
because
fire is like like volcano fire, and they're actually melting.
Maybe. Like it was really weird. It was just a really weird scene where it looked like they just wanted to have a guy like with a flamethrower and animate that, but it just didn't make any sense. It was flamethrowing robots. Yeah, it was.
But hey, they did it.
They did, I guess. I suppose.
I mean, it worked.
I guess. God damn
it. See, what really happened was that he flamed the droids, and because they're as non-intelligent as they are, they actually thought it's hurting them.
Yeah. They don't actually feel any pain. It's not actually doing anything to them, but because they caught fire, they feel like they should be screaming in pain.
Yes.
There you go.
That's how I would put it.
There you go. Well, with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it. Shout out to all of our supporters as well over on the CranKy Ducklings. And we'll see you guys for episode 4 of the Bad Batch Season 2. See you then.
Bye.
Ciao.